Welcome to your integer packet. Please turn to page 12. In this video, we will cover page 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. We will be writing number sentences for addition problems using the chips and using the number line. Let's take a look at page 12 first. We're going to be writing number sentences for the different models we've been given. A number sentence is a complete mathematical sentence that makes a complete statement, such as 9 plus 2 equals 11. Now let's begin writing for each of the models we've been given. Number 1, we've been given 7 positive chips, and we're going to combine with that 3 negative chips. A gain of 7 but a loss of 3 ends up being a positive 4. In problem number 2, we have 5 positive chips, a gain of 5, plus 6 positive chips, or a gain of 6. Total gain, a positive 11. We add the quantities in this particular problem, whereas in the previous problem, because the chips were different, we actually subtract. Let's move on to problem number 3. A loss of 3, or a negative 3, plus a loss of 5 chips. Our total loss, well, in order to find the total, we add the two quantities. It's a loss of 8. Finally, in the fourth problem, it's a gain of 5 positives, but we add to that a loss of 4 negatives, or a negative 4. Because they're different kinds of chips or different colors, we don't actually add, we subtract our 0 pairs. When we subtract and cancel out our 0 pairs, we end up with a gain of 1. Now pause the video and complete the problems at the bottom of the page. When you're ready, turn on the video and check your work. Please pause the video now. Now that you're ready to correct your work, let's take a look. You should have gotten a gain of 2 plus a loss of 5 equals a negative 3. Remember, we subtract the 0 pairs. And then for number 6, you should have gotten a loss of 8 plus a gain of 6. When you take away or subtract the 0 pairs, you're left with a loss of 2, or a negative 2. Give yourself a C if you got both of those right. Now that we've tackled the chips, it's time to move on to the number line. Please turn to page 13. On page 13, we're going to model addition using a number line and vectors. Home base in each problem is going to be 0. Please place a dot or a chip on 0 for these 4 problems. And we also have to mention that when you're given a positive amount, you will move to the right. That's considered a gain. But when you're given a negative amount, that's a loss, and you're going to move to the left. Let's begin. We have a gain of 3 plus a gain of 5. And those are both positive values. Let's begin. We have to plot a gain of 3. So just above the number line, we're going to start at 0 and move 3 units to the right. That vector or arrow represents a gain of 3 or positive 3. We no longer use the scooping move that we learned in elementary school. Gain is represented by an arrow or a vector. And we're going to add to it a gain of 5. Move 5 more units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And label this arrow positive 5. Our arrow or our chip comes to rest at the answer positive 8. Please copy down these notes and write, when you're ready, the answer positive 8 on the line. Now let's take a look at problem number 2. We have a loss of 4 plus a loss of 3. Still starting at 0, we're going to represent that loss as a vector moving to the left 4 units. We will label that negative 4. And from that point, we will move to the left 3 more units. 1, 2, 3. That represents a loss of 3. We arrive at the answer, which is a negative 7, or a total loss of 7. So far, it's pretty easy. However, sometimes we have to mix loss and gain, like in problem number 3. First, we start with a gain of 6. So let's begin at 0 and move 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This vector is positive 6. Now that we're sitting at a positive 6, we must move to the left 4 units. So up above, we start here and we go back 1, 2, 3, 4 units. That's a loss of 4. Our final answer or result is a positive 2. Make sure you are circling all the answers or the spot where we arrive on the number line. And now finally, number 4. Please make sure you're taking down all these notes. We're going to experience a loss of 7, but a gain of 4. So starting at 0, move to the left 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That vector represents a loss of 7. But now we have to show a gain. So starting just above the tip of the arrowhead, you're going to move back 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a gain of 4. Our net result gets circled. The answer to that addition problem is a negative 3. Please make sure you have all these notes down on paper. Make sure your arrows are labeled like this. Make sure your answer has been circled. Turn the page and let's move on to page 14. On page 14, you're going to graph each one of these addition problems. Remember, we start at 0 each and every time. Please place a dot at 0 for each case. And if you're representing a vector that's a gain, you're going to move to the right. If you represent a vector that's a loss, you're going to move to the left. Pause the video And when you're ready, you can turn the video back on and check your work. Then we'll look at page 15 together. Pause the video and graph each one of these. Now let's check our work. In each case, make sure your arrow is labeled. For number 1, you should have a positive 7 moving to the right and a negative 3 moving to the left with an answer of 4. For number 2, you should have a negative 2 moving to the left and another 4 units moving to the left, labeled with a negative 4, and a negative 6 is your answer. For number 3, your answer is negative 1. For number 4, your answer is negative 7. And for number 5, your answer is 0. A positive 4 and a negative 4 are opposites, and an opposites zero each other out. Now turn to page 15. Page 15 provides you with more practice. However, let's take a look at problem 3. It's an interesting problem. We know that 10 is a positive 10 and 14 is a loss of 14. We know that we're going to move to the right for positive 10 and move to the left for negative 14. Let's start at 0 and see what our result is. So, we first have a gain of positive 10. Draw a vector, just like that, out to positive 10. From that point, we experience a loss of 14. Move to the left 14 units. So far we've gone 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This vector should be labeled negative 14. And our answer, well, that's a negative 4. Practice more on your own when you have time. And now let's move together to page 16. On page 16, we're given an addition problem modeled on the number line. We're asked to write a number sentence for the model we've been given. Let's take a look at number 1. We know we start at 0, and if you look at your first vector, it's over positive 1. Our second vector goes back 5 units to the left. That's a loss of 5 or a negative 5. And circle negative 4 where the arrow ends up. That represents our final answer. So we would write positive 1 plus negative 5, that's our second vector or addend, equals a circled answer of negative 4. Let's take a look at number 2. Again, starting at 0, our arrow goes to negative 3. We've gone 3 units to the left. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4 more units to the left. That's a loss of 4, a negative 4. And we arrive at a negative 7. So we would write the sentence negative 3 plus negative 4 equals negative 7. Make sure you're labeling your vectors and circling the final answer. It will really help you put together the pieces of the number sentence. Let's take a look at number 3. Of course, we start at 0, and our arrow goes to the left 4 units. That's a negative 4. But then we turn and we have a gain of 3 units. And our final answer is negative 1. Please circle that. So when we write the sentence, it's negative 4 plus a positive 3 equals negative 1. One more together. Let's look at problem number 4. Again, we start at 0, it's home base. We move to the right 6 units. That's a gain of 6. But then we move to the left or go back and experience a loss of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units and arrive at an answer of negative 1. So we write the sentence positive 6 plus negative 7 equals negative 1. Now work on the next 4 on your own. Make sure to label the arrows and circle the final answer. Pause the video, and when you're ready, turn the video back on to correct your work. For number 5, the first arrow is a negative 3, the second vector a negative 2, and your answer is negative 5. Your sentence should look like this. For number 6, your first arrow is a gain of 5, and your second arrow is a loss of 3. Make sure your arrows are labeled, and your answer is 2. So your sentence should be positive 5 plus negative 3 equals 2. For number 7, your first arrow is a negative 4 plus a positive 3 and a final answer of negative 1. And lastly, number 8, a loss of 2 plus a loss of 1 equals the answer or result negative 3. This concludes the video for pages 12 through 16.